This week on Goofing Off,
Kyle shows us a great movie adaptation.
Clayton swings into the world of Spider-Man.
All this and more on Goofing Off. It's goof to be back for another episode of Gooding Off.
Wait, what?
I said it's good to be back for another episode of Goofing Off.
Okay. Anyway, I'm Becca Tyler.
And I'm Drew Brown. Becca, I noticed you were absent for a while during our suspended animation. What happened?
You see, Drew, Kyle called upon me to go to Nyancon.
I want to see your adventures too, though.
Well, you're in luck, because it's coming up next on Goofing Off. What's up, nerds? I'm Becca Tyler, and I'm here at Nyancon in Kirtland, Ohio at Lakeland Community College. Let's see what this day has in store for us, shall we? Let's go. And now I'm here with, and what's your name?
Danny.
Hi, Danny. So what have you been doing today at the con so far?
Eating chicken nuggets, taking a bunch of photos, meeting up with friends I haven't seen in a long time, being with my best friend, and just having fun.
So have you bought anything at the con so far? Have you bought any merch?
No, not yet, but I saw some lances and alluras and other things, and I'm like eyeing it, you know? But I'm trying not to go broke, because I'm actually going to a con tomorrow as well, so.
What con are you going to tomorrow?
I'm going to Cleveland Comic-Con, so it's going to be fun with that.
And then one more question before we go. If you had to live in a fantasy universe, which fantasy universe would you pick?
I would say Voltron, but it sounds a little dangerous. I don't know, maybe like some like, I don't know, metropolitan gone upside down. Yeah, I don't know. Something cool and like urban and city and like with an underground like team of, I don't know, band of misfits. That's what I would do.
That's very descriptive.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you, Danny, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.
Thanks so much.
All right, and now I'm here with, and then what's your name?
My name's Alex.
Hello, Alex. So how long have you been at the con so far?
Probably about an hour right now, but I've been coming here to this convention for about 5 years.
Oh, that's super cool. So far in this 1 hour, like, what have you been doing so far?
So I actually just went to my panel that I posted. It's for a Star Wars fan film called Star Wars Rise of Ren. So the movie is basically about the original story of like Kylo Ren and how he became Kylo Ren. And so the Q&A, we just talked about like, you know, what the process was, how long we've been working on the film itself, our budget, and I did makeup and costumes.
And then who are you cosplaying as today? Your cosplay's super nice.
Yes, I am cosplaying as Spider-Gwen from the Spider Universe, and I'm loving it.
I am super excited to see Intro to the Spider-Verse. I'm sure you are too, obviously. And so one last question before we go and have you on with the rest of your day. If you could live in one fictional universe, what fictional universe would that be?
I'm probably going to have to say the Lord of the Rings universe, only because I think I would be a hobbit. I'm small. I don't like leaving my house.
And now I'm here with, and what's your name?
My name's Danny.
Hi, Danny. So how long have you been at the con so far?
We haven't been here too long, maybe less than half an hour at this point.
Half an hour? So like, what have you been doing in that half hour that you've been here?
We've just been looking around, seeing what there all is, meeting new people, all that fun jazz.
That's awesome. That sounds like a good time. So, and then who are you cosplaying as? Your cosplay is really cool.
I'm cosplaying Keith from Voltron.
That's awesome. And then one more question before we go. If you had to live in a fantasy universe, which fantasy universe would you pick?
Oh God, I couldn't think of all as Voltron because I'm in it, but I don't think that's what I'd actually choose. That's a good question. I don't know. I watch too much. Can I veto?
You can absolutely veto, it's okay. Well, that's all the time we had at Nyancon. We had a really great time and we can't wait to come back again next year. As always, I'm Becca Tyler and thank you for taking the time to goof off with us.
Becca, it's a miracle. You're healed.
Did I miss something?
Your eye. It was burned before, but now you're better.
No. That was just my cosplay that I did for Nyancon. And I can show you how I did it on Create Your Character, up next. What's up, nerds? I'm Becca Tyler and welcome to another episode of Create Your Character. During my trip to Nyancon, I cosplayed as Shoto Todoroki from the anime series My Hero Academia, and I got a lot of positive feedback from people at the con, so I figured I'd show you guys how to create that cosplay today. Now, enough of my talking, let's head to the drawing board. So one of the biggest part of Shoto's character is his hair, so we're going to be starting out with making our wig. The wig I bought was completely white, so I will be showing you guys how to dye a synthetic wig to make half of it red. First, what I'm going to do is cut my wig in half along the lining holding it all together. Some hair will fall out, but not enough to really make a difference in how the wig looks, so don't stress. Next, for the dyeing portion, take a pot that you can comfortably submerge the half of the wig in, and fill it with water to boil. Make sure the pot you are using will not be used for food in the future. The dye is hazardous to ingest and can stick to pots even after washing it. After the water is boiling, squirt a good amount of the synthetic dye into the water. If you end up needing more in the future, you can always add more. Then submerge the wig into the dye. Make sure that the synthetic wig you are using is heat resistant, because if not, this step will completely damage it. Check the wig every 3 minutes or so until you achieve the shade of red that you want. For me, this took me around 15 minutes. After the wig is done, go ahead and rinse it out to get all of the extra dye off and blow dry it. After the wig is fully dried, time to sew it together, making sure that everything is lined up properly. After the wig is fully dried, I went ahead and straightened it using a flat iron. The main part of Shoto's face is the scar that he has over the one eye. In the anime, his scar looks like a red blob, but I wanted to make it look slightly more realistic in texture. To do that, I will be using a product called Third Degree, a silicone compound used for special effects makeup to create realistic wounds. It comes in 2 parts that should only be mixed together when you plan to use them. This means do not use the same utensil for each mixture when scooping it out, because it will ruin the whole batch due to cross-contamination. So go ahead and scoop out equal parts of each and mix together with a sculpting tool and apply to the face. When applying it, I try to be as messy with it as possible to get a really rough texture, adding various lines and curves to the silicone to make it look more realistic. The next step is going to be applying circle lenses, or lens for that matter. Shoto Todoroki has 2 different color dyes. Lucky for me, I naturally have one of those colors, so I only need 1 contact lens. But if you don't have really light blue eyes, then you may have to opt for another contact lens. While the silicone is drying, I'm going to be applying foundation, concealer, powder, contour, and blush to the rest of my face without the scar. I also want to emphasize the eyes a little bit while making them look natural, so I'm going to take a dark brown eyeshadow on a small brush and line my upper lids with it. By now the silicone should be dried and you can begin painting it. Take a makeup sponge and dip it in red grease paint and dab it all over the burn. It doesn't have to be a bright red, mostly just a light shade of pink. Then go in with a small brush and take that same red color and fill in the crevices left in the silicone to create dimension. After that's all done, I wanted to go for a more casual looking Todoroki, so I wore a white button-up shirt, a red tie, jeans, and Converse. However, if you want to buy his hero suit he wears for training, that works too. Well, that's all the time I have for this character. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, or want to suggest another character for me to do, don't be afraid to tweet me at CTV Goofing Off with the hashtag #CreateYourCharacter. Anyway, I'm Becca Tyler, and I'll see you the next time around on Create Your Character. Hey Drew, What is 5 letters and can be a verb or a noun? Drew, it's break. We'll be right back.
If you like what you see here on Goofing Off, be sure to like us on Facebook, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and follow us on Twitter.
You're watching ZTV.
Persona!
Drew, what are you doing?
I'm trying to summon my persona so it can help me with these host bits.
Well, Drew, maybe if you watch this week's Animongo, you'll figure it out. Check out Kyle's review of the Persona 3 movies up next.
Hello anime and manga fans, I'm Kyle Glockner and welcome back to another episode of Animonga. With the conclusion of the summer season of anime, the Persona 5 animation has ended and it was something. I was really hoping that it would live up to the standards set by the Persona 4 anime, but it really fell flat. However, today we're here to talk about a good Persona adaptation. That's right, today I'll be talking about the Persona 3 movies. Now for this review, I'll be breaking down all 4 of the Persona movies on an individual basis and talking about each of them. I'll say now that there are spoilers ahead, so if you haven't played Persona 3 yet, please go do it. It's well worth your time. But if you're okay with spoilers, let's start with the first movie, Spring of Birth. Spring of Birth starts out exactly how you would expect, with our protagonist, Makoto Yuki, making his way to the C's dorm during the very first dark hour. Very quickly into this movie, we learn just how cold of a person Makoto is in this adaptation. He doesn't really care much for the other members of the dorm and isn't afraid to show it. I think this personality on a Persona protagonist is really interesting as a twist for the series. As we see in the animation of Personas 4 and 5, Yu and Ren are friendly and happily socialize with the other characters in the story, but Makoto doesn't seem to want anything to do with them. But after the movie takes off after the intro, the next thing I noticed was just how beautiful this movie looked. Persona 3 hasn't really seen the light since 2009, and even then that was just portable, which took away all 3D environments except for Tartarus. Seeing all these characters in crisp animation was amazing, and I would recommend the films on that basis alone. And that's pretty much it as far as the first movie goes. While it sounds like there isn't a lot there, this movie established what this tetralogy is going to do and how they're going to present the events of Persona 3. And in my opinion, that's all this first movie really needed to do. But after the first movie ends with the June full moon, we start with the second movie, Midsummer Night's Dream. The second Persona 3 movie begins in a very familiar scene during the July full moon, and boy does this movie just drop you right in, which isn't a bad thing at all. See, the Persona 3 movies do a great job of assuming you know the source material, yet present it in a slightly new way to make it feel fresh again. Now here's where that spoiler warning really comes into effect, so once again, if you don't want spoilers, stop watching now, because they're coming. There's a lot to unpack with this movie, but I'll start with one of the most important events, the introduction of Aigis. Anyone who's played Persona 3 knows that Aigis is a pretty important character, even when compared to the rest of the party. But in these movies, I would go as far to say that Aigis is almost a second main character. Throughout the second movie, we see that Aigis is the one that starts to break Makoto out of his typical uncaring demeanor, and we actually see some emotion out of him for the first time. One of the more interesting parts of this adaptation is the introduction of Shinjiro and his relationship with Ken. In the movie, Shinjiro joins C's during the Chariot and Justice Shadow battle, rather than between the August and September full moons, and has a much better relationship with Ken overall. But one of the last things I'll talk about for this film is its conclusion with Shinjiro's death. When I first saw his death scene in the game, it really didn't make me feel anything, if I'm being honest. It just kind of happened and that was it. But in the movie, I'll admit, I shed a few tears as he died in Akihiko's arms. I think that if the first Persona 3 movie didn't really hook you that well, the second one definitely will. But now, we'll move on to the third movie, Falling Down. Falling Down skips a bit of time from Shinjiro's death and starts us at the Strega confrontation and the Hanged Man Shadow fight on the Moonlight Bridge. The first thing about this movie that I found really interesting is the presence of Ryoji. In the game, Ryoji's a minorly important character at this point in the story and doesn't really have his moment until December. But in the movie, he plays an incredibly prominent role. Due to his outgoing personality, Ryoji is able to befriend Makoto, and a lot of the movie focuses on the friendship building between the two of them, much more so than in the game. This addition not only enhances the parts of the story we know from the game, but is perfect for developing Makoto's character throughout the film. Other than Aigis, we finally see someone really get through to him and crack into his shell, which leads to Makoto finally beginning to accept everyone in SEES too. But the second part of this movie I want to talk about is the relationship between Chidori and Junpei. Unlike in the game, Chidori doesn't kidnap Junpei until November as opposed to September, and thus she isn't hospitalized for those 2 months. Now at first, this really put me off. I thought that by leaving out what I considered one of the most important character relationships within the game, these movies were setting themselves up to disappoint. But I was proven wrong, as the third movie makes up for lost time by very quickly and effectively establishing Chidori and Junpei's relationship, which all culminates to the tragic scene of her death, which, much like Shinjiro's, was way more impactful in the movie than in the game. Whereas Midsummer Night's Dream's telling of Persona 3 kind of pushed down some important events, Falling Down really brought us back on track, especially as we see the final scene, Ryoji's reveal on the Moonlight Bridge. This scene actually has a direct continuation from the end of Falling Down to the beginning of the final movie, Winter of Rebirth. Remember how I said that Ryoji's friendship with Makoto enhances a lot while also developing his character? Well, that all comes to a head in this scene as we see Makoto realize the truth of one of the first people he accepted as a friend. And I'll just say that this movie opens up with a bang, as Ryoji holds nothing back in his reveal as the messenger of Nyx. From this point, much of the movie focuses on SEES as they find their reasons to fight, which adds a lot more that wasn't present in the game and overall adds a lot more depth behind each character's resolve. But finally, we get to the battle with Nyx and the end of Persona 3, and honestly, I don't have anything to say about the end of this movie other than if you're a fan of Persona 3, you have to see this movie. Makoto's solo battle with Nyx is probably my favorite scene across all 4 films, and while the final rooftop scene from the game had me a bit teary-eyed, the end of the movie brought me to full-on tears. This movie is an absolute masterpiece of an adaptation, and the 4th movie in particular is a perfect example on how to properly adapt source material without just replicating it in an animated form. Overall, if you've ever played Persona 3, you have to see these 4 movies. While we're all waiting patiently for Atlus to give us our HD re-release, these movies will whet your Persona 3 appetite. And if you're a fan of the Persona franchise and haven't played P3, go do that. Like immediately. The Persona 3 movies were animated by Anime International Company and A1 Pictures. Like I said, I really cannot recommend these movies enough, especially if you're a fan of Persona 3. But that's all the time I have for today, so let me know what you think by tweeting me at ZTV Goofing Off using the hashtag Animanga. Until then, I'm Kyle Glockner, and this has been Animanga.
Hey, Becca, have you seen Venom yet?
I actually did. It was really interesting to see how the creators were able to.
Becca, that's great and all, but he's literally loose in the studio and we can't find him.
Oh. Yikes. Let's get out of here. We'll leave it up to Matt to review the movie up next on Movie Snobs.
Hey everyone, my name is Matt Reed, and welcome back to Movie Snobs. This week, I would like to talk about Venom, a more recent movie, one that's still in the theaters at the time of me doing this review. Now, I know that before, I've talked about a Marvel movie with the light and fun Ant-Man, but this is drastically different. Here today, as usual, I'm going to talk about what I liked and disliked about Venom in that order, and hopefully, by the end, come to a conclusion and give the movie my overall rating. Now, without further ado, let's get started. The first thing I want to dig into today is the star power this movie had. The acting in this flick was not a downside. Tom Hardy is always a welcome sight. His acting really shines in almost every flick he takes on. The villain is no exception. I'm really glad to see Riz Ahmed in this as Carlton Drake, as he has popped up in a few of the more recent movies that I've enjoyed. He does extremely well in hiding his ability to be unfeeling and almost sinister behind a facade of altruism and charisma, and you can see a clear path of his descent into darkness throughout the movie. Next, I'm going to talk about the action. something I will almost always touch upon. I didn't have many expectations going into this flick, and I hadn't been a large Venom fan in the past. I wasn't looking for anything specific in this movie, but I was pleasantly surprised. I felt the power of Venom in the movie theater. The fight scenes were full of strength and carnage, no pun intended. As Venom jumped around the screen, taking out enemies and tossing them about, I was impressed. As I have mentioned before, I love when a savage force is allowed to be just that in their movie, savage. Last and probably least of the positives, the humor. It's in today's standard that most big blockbuster action flicks have to have some comedy in them, a standard undoubtedly set by the Marvel Cinematic Universe a decade ago. I enjoyed around 75% of the movie's humor. Some jokes I laughed louder than others, but some just didn't hit. I know that my opinion doesn't differ from the fellow moviegoers that I was sharing a theater with, and I was able to pick out the specific moments where laughter was intended, but not received. Now that I have touched upon the positives of the movie, it's time to dive into the dirty details of what I disliked about this picture. The first thing that I noticed at all about Venom was the pacing. I know that there was a lot of story to cram into this 1 hour and 52-minute runtime, but I still feel it was poorly done. The beginning of the movie gave story details for 30 minutes. Then it awkwardly turned to a 6 months later cutaway. That is extremely hard to pull off in a sophisticated manner and not feel totally out of place. And this movie didn't do well on it. The movie seemed to drone on for the first half, resulting in me and my friend tapping our feet just waiting for the action to start. The plot is hands down the most important part of any movie, and the plot in Venom is more full of holes than Swiss cheese. Yes, a story was told, but many parts of it should not have been possible. Without spoiling anything major, the movie has almost no police presence with lasting effect. There are huge plot points that would never take place in real life without some form of screening by the public or government. While I know that these movies aren't grounded in realism, that doesn't mean that they aren't completely immune to some of the restrictions of it. The last thing I'll talk about briefly is the romance in Venom. The romance feels fake and forced throughout the movie. Even though they tried to litter it in at a steady pace, the chemistry just wasn't there. Though I can't say I know Tom Hardy for his love story roles. After taking a hard look at the good and bad of this movie, I'm gonna give it a 6 out of 10. Mediocre. Well, that's all the time I have for you today. If you have any thoughts or questions, feel free to let me know on our Twitter, at ZTV Goofing Off, using the hashtag MovieSnobs. My name is Matt. Thank you for watching Movie Snobs.
Drew, have you found Venom yet?
Not yet. I'll look this way, you look that way.
Okay, but until then, here's a wholesome commercial break.
If you like what you see here on Goofing Off, be sure to like us on Facebook, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and follow us on Twitter.
You're watching ZTV.
So Drew, what are you doing on hunting today?
Taking a trip back.
Back to what?
Prehistory. We're hunting dinosaurs next on Drew's Hunting. All right, everybody. Drew Brown back again once more with another Drew's Hunting. And today's episode's kind of special because today we're not hunting animals that exist right now. We're going to be instead hunting reptiles, giant reptiles, dinosaurs, to be more precise. A little backstory. So I was trying to figure out what we were doing for the next episode of Drew's Hunting, and I came across this, right? And as soon as I came across this, I knew that it was going to be a good one. Steam, if you dig enough through Steam, you really find some interesting bits. I guess we're in it. Is that something over there? I have a small little pistol. So I got 3 achievements. There we go, it's better. So I'm gonna get a weapon. I got 3 more achievements. I guess. So I have a gun. It's not your standard hunting rifle. So there's some more achievements. So I got my standard hunting rifle. Here's a sledgehammer. I'll take that. I guess. Sequence started deploying targets. Are those people? What? They're coming at me. Oh, they're zombies. I thought this was dinosaurs. I want to go into I want to actually hunt dinosaurs. Where are the dinosaurs? I was promised dinosaurs. So we're going to go back. I got 3 achievements that are just, oh boy, we are so bad at this. Another one, oh boy, we are so bad at this. So we're going to play. Oh, okay, cool, campaign. I guess these are all the different modes you can play. Moon base, reduced gravity mode, sandbox. Endless waves, sandbox, unlimited ammo. We're going to go for a new campaign. We're just going to stick with it. Is that me? Where are the dinosaurs? I was promised dinosaurs. Here's a sword. Let's try the sword. There they are. I see them. The dinosaurs. Okay, that one got... That deer's gone. Okay, okay. This is a little much. These dinosaurs. You know, sometimes you find games that are just really hard to... There he is. He's coming for me. What is that? Is that a T-Rex? What is that thing? He's barreling towards me. Oh, it's like an ankylosaurus. I got him. Hello. How's it going? He's my buddy. He's moonwalking. I guess he wasn't my buddy. I want to hunt a T-Rex. Where is he? Green T-Rex. Alright, so we're going to Stone Land. We're going to hunt down this green T-Rex. Dinosaur Hunt is a game that can transcend many different art styles and mediums. And now I'm playing it, and now it looks like Borderlands. That's fine. So for a T-Rex, I think we need the minigun. So we're going to go for the minigun, right? This looks like I'm walking in like a field of like hot fudge. I don't like it very much. Oh, there it is. So we're in the... Okay, that thing is huge. That's going to be hard to kill. Wow. Okay, I'm going to need a stronger weapon. What do I got? I can't come at it with a machete, right? I'm going to need something. All my comrades, they're down. I need to... Oh, how about an RPG? Rocket launcher sounds good. Let's go find that T-Rex. So we're going to Skyrim up this hill. Real quick. And so I can track down this T-Rex. Is that him? There's something over there. I think that might be him. I'm going to go over here first. I guess the Great Wall of China is surrounding me. Like I said, we're in like that one Mario Kart level where it's all chocolate from the NES game. Alright, so there he is. I'm going to try to aim real quick. Okay, I think that might have did a little bit of damage. This is the thing about hunting is sometimes you got to go for a ranged kind of boy. I think he's walking in place. And my scope's useless to me because the rocket is actually obscuring the scope. I think he sees me. I think he's actually approaching me. And I don't think I'm actually hitting him. Oh no, he's coming. He's coming. He's coming. That did nothing. That did nothing. You can't get up here, boyo. Oh, okay, he totally could. A baseball bat. How about minigun from a... How about minigun from a distance? So it's not letting me use the minigun, so I'm going to try this guy out. Time to use a medkit. Let's go for our last approach. And Skyrim up this hill again. All right, fella. I hit him. All right, so he's coming. He's coming. Can I switch firing modes? I think there was a way to do that. Oh no, he doesn't care about hills. He does not care about hills. Okay. So I think we're gonna try something different, right? That T-Rex is obviously too powerful. Let's try something different. What other things can this game offer me? There's a lot of raptors and allosauruses. Crow, I guess. All right, so I found the DLC. So we got Dragon, Carnotaurus, Stegosaurus, Knights DLC, Gargoyle, Spiders, Brontosaurus boss fight, Aliens, Bacon, Cowboys, and Zombies. Let's try... I want to try... Bacon sounds strong. Let's try Dragon.
Stay back. They're all mine.
Stay back, you're all mine, I say. Let's see. What weapon should I use against a dragon? How about this thing? Oh, it's a sniper rifle. Alright, that's probably good for a dragon. They're flying, I think.
Here we go.
Okay, that's more than one dragon. Where are all my... Where are they all at? There it is, the dragon. Wait, he disappeared. I wanted to look at him. Oh man. The dragon blood. Where be other dragon? There's two over here. Let's see if I can take them down. She is here. That is the achievement I just achieved. I guess. Where's the dragon? More dragon? There's another dragon. That one's blowing fire. Man, these things are weak. I guess this gun's just really powerful. It must be a really nice sniper rifle. Where is the... He's not up... He's not in the air. Okay. Dinosaur egg. What? It's an Allosaurus. Oh no. Oh no, they don't like that. I have to omelet time. This is a powerful egg. Alright, he's gone.
No, it can't be over. I'm not done yet.
I guess I'm not done yet. My player character is a very interesting fella. Oh, I guess I won. Alright, so we're gonna play some more DLC. I paid a good amount of money for this game. We should, so there was the free add-ons and the DLC, right? Let's try Bacon. I want to see what Bacon is. What could that possibly be? Something is hurting me? Is that just a giant... It's just a big... The wild boar! He's back! Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! Not this time, piggy boy. I'm getting more achievements, by the way. I checked again. Matt and Taylor, aw. Shout out to Matt and Taylor, making this possible. The pump action's actually working pretty well, so I'm gonna sneak up on this guy, right? Bada bing, boys. I guess bacon I thought it was gonna be like literal pieces of bacon running around, like anthropomorphic bacon, but I see that's not the case. So I guess that's it for bacon mode. I want to try the other DLC before we quit. Hello, my name is Alex is an achievement. Thank you. Hello, Alex. How are you doing today? Glad to see you're a fan of this game. Golden? I don't know. I don't know what triggers these achievements. It's probably me breathing. I'm disappointed there's no snow environments. It would probably look a lot like Skyrim, but, you know, better. Rollin', rollin', rollin'. Keep that barrel rollin'. Wait until the spiders ride. They're all behind me. Ah! Ah! They're floating! I don't like these things. I don't like them at all. They look like Legos. Imagine being in a dark alley at nighttime, right? And one of these things comes scrambling up to you like, and he's like, you got any delicious fruits for me to prey on? Time for the rocket launcher. These things need to go. Perfect. Reload, 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 reload. Perfect. Alright, so that's the giant spider DLC for Dinosaur Hunt. Apparently, it's just Hunt because we got a lot more dinosaurs. I think that about covers most of my bases on the DLC. So I think I'm going to cut it there. Again, I found this game on a whim. Go buy it. It's worth your time and your money. Dinosaurs, hunting, spiders, indestructible tyrannosaurs, green test tube dinosaurs over here. The Dinosaur Hunt in the top left. What more could you ask for? But, I mean, if you have any other games that you want me to play here on Drew's Hunting, tweet me at ZTV Goofing Off with the hashtag Drew's Hunting. And until next time, I'm Drew, running around with like 18 different kinds of guns, hunting lots of different kinds of things, anything you could think of. Anyway, I'll see you next time on Drew's Hunting.
This is exactly what it looks like. We're taking a break.
If you like what you see here on Goofing Off, be sure to like us on Facebook, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and follow us on Twitter.
You're watching ZTV.
Drew, did you know that the university just had the grand opening of the new esports stadium?
I did not. My good friend and co-host Becca. Maybe Cameron will tell us a little more about that, as well as Hearthstone. This time on Esports and Zip.
Hey everyone, welcome to Esports Unzipped, your hub for all things esports. My name's Karen Blunt, and we marked a special occasion for the esports community here at the University of Akron, the grand opening of the esports facilities on campus. There was an amazing turnout, and I even got to meet some of the players. So, without further ado, let's see what they had to say.
During this event, anyone could come and join whether they were a student or not. At this event, you could play on the computers that even the pros will be using. These computers are specially designed for them for top performance. All that was left was the skill of the players.
It was honestly a great time, one that I won't forget. In other news, Hearthstone has gone from version 12.0 to 12.2. In this update, there are new player ranks in the competitive ladder, keyword changes, an update on the welcome bundle, and fixes to a ton of bugs that sometimes were a make or break point in a game. We'll start with the competitive ladder. Before, it was simply ranked 25 to 1, then Legendary. Now it's ranked 50 to 1, then Legendary. In these new ranks, players can opt out and go straight to rank 25 and be an angry chicken. But by doing so, they miss out on 22 free packs. Additionally, in these new ranks, players cannot D-rank, but they do need to win to increase their rank. Also, there was an interesting part in the patch notes. While in these new ranks, players are unable to craft Whizbang the Wonderful. And for those of you who don't know, Whizbang gives the player a deck that is actually really powerful and can get you through ranks pretty fast if you know what you're doing. So I understand not wanting this in the new ranks that are meant for beginners, but it does bring up the question, what happens if a player just happens to open a pack and he's in it? Granted, the odds are incredibly low, but it's still possible. Someone could throw a ton of money into packs and just keep opening until they got him. But to be fair, anyone that does have him would get out of these new ranks incredibly fast, so it wouldn't be a problem for long, but it would be for a bit. Included in this update was a new version of the Welcome Bundle. For $5, you get 10 packs of cards and now 1 random legendary dragon instead of a random class legendary. So now these cards can be used in any deck that fits your playstyle. Additionally, 5 new quests have been added, with each one giving the players 50 to 60 gold. Not too bad considering each pack is 100 gold. Next, we get to the keyword changes. These changes are made to cards that have a special ability to activate when drawn. These cards include the Scroll of Wonder, Ancient Curse, Burrowing Mine, Darkness Candle, Spider Ambush, and a few more. Nothing mechanics-wise has changed about these cards, just some word choices. Lastly, we get to the bug fixes. A good majority of these are interaction fixes, such as Glinda Crowskin giving the Darkness Echo, damaging Death Rattles using Lifesteal to gain health, and a few others. Some were ease of use, like multi-card draw being sped up, the tooltip for Floop was fixed, and some of the magnetic abilities. And that's it. Hearthstone continuously evolves and grows, fixing problems every step of the way. But what do you guys think? Any cards that need buffed or nerfed? What set could be coming out next? Any character from World of Warcraft that you'd like to see in Hearthstone? Well, let me know by tweeting me at ZTV Goofing Off, and be sure to use the hashtag esportsunzip. Also, don't forget to tune into my talk show on 88.1 WZIP every Monday at 9 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time for even more esports talk. As always, I'm Karen Blunt, and I'll see you guys next time.
Guess what, Drew?
What?
Clayton's going to be talking about one of my favorite comic book characters coming up this week, Spider-Man.
But, Becca, this one looks kind of funny.
Nah, that's just how Clayton always looks. Here's Clayton talking about Spider-Man 2099 up next.
Comic Therapy. Hello viewers, once again. I'm Clayton Schrock, and welcome back to Comic Therapy. Did you have a bad day and you need a break? Did you have a good day and you want to keep it going? Well, either way, this is the video for you. In this episode, I'm going to be talking about Spider-Man. Look, I didn't want to. I told myself I wasn't going to make an episode on Spider-Man. He's a well-known character and is mine and many others' favorite hero. People know enough about him. But I had to make an exception for Spider-Man 2099. He's my favorite version of Spider-Man and is not as well known as Earth 616 Peter Parker we see in recent movies. Spider-Man 2099 is a whole new character from a whole different time period with a whole new set of powers. We've got a lot of ground to cover, so let's start with the man behind the mask. And he's not wearing hockey pads. Miguel O'Hara lives in New York City in the year, you guessed it, 2099. He's a genius that works at a genetics mega corporation called Alchemex. New York has a similar look to that of the movie Blade Runner. The government is controlled by these mega corporations, and many people reference the heroic age, which is the time we are most familiar with where the Avengers and most Marvel heroes take place. Many of these heroes are even praised and talked about like gods, especially Thor and other Norse mythology characters who have a cult-like following with people that call themselves Thorites. This city is physically divided, with the lower class living in street-level buildings and the upper class living in a new layer of the city just built on top of the old. Now, how Miguel O'Hara became Spider-Man. While attempting to recreate powers similar to that of Spider-Man for Alchemex, Miguel was forced to advance a genetics test from animal testing to using a human who was willing to be experimented on. The test goes horribly wrong and kills the subject. This is the last straw for O'Hara, and he walks straight to his boss's office and quits. O'Hara is amazed when his boss accepts his resignation and says his goodbyes with a toast. As soon as O'Hara finishes his drink, his boss reveals to him that he put Rapture in it. Rapture is a legal hallucinogenic drug that the body becomes immediately addicted to and will shut down if you stop taking it. Alchemex is the only company that creates this drug, and O'Hara's boss threatens to let him die if he quits. Miguel refuses to abide, so sneaks into the lab at night and attempts to alter his genetics so that he no longer is addicted to Rapture. A coworker that hates O'Hara sees him and tries to kill him by messing with the settings in the equipment. The lab explodes, but O'Hara survives thanks to his new Spider-Man-like powers fused into his DNA. Now, I know that was a big intro, but this origin story is what first pulled me into the character. The original 2099 solo series takes place in his own world, but more recent series have him jump around between different years and universes. Personally, while I love this character, I think he's best in the year 2099. That being said, O'Hara is always a standout hero for me when popping up in other 2099 storylines, and especially in the Spider-Verse series. Also, controversial opinion here, but I love the original Day of the Dead suit, and I'm not a fan of the white suit. Sorry, haters. Finally, we have his powers. Yes, essentially he is just a Spider-Man with advanced speed, strength, and agility, but he also has a few main differences. Firstly, Spider-Man 2099 has large talons which allow him to stick to walls, but we also see him using these as weapons from time to time. Next, not really a power, but a feature of his suit is a futuristic cloth used by the Thorites to help them glide. O'Hara makes a small cape from torn pieces of this, allowing him to have more airtime between web swinging. Speaking of web swinging, Spider-Man 2099 has organic webbing like we see in the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movie. This plays a big role in the Spider-Verse series. O'Hara also has venom fangs, which he uses mainly in extreme circumstances. Finally, he does not have spider sense, but instead his normal senses are heightened, so much that bright lights become one of his weaknesses when he's not wearing his suit or sunglasses. Personally, I think this is a major loss, because spider sense is one of the most underrated superpowers in movies and comics. I have a lot to say about spider sense, so tweet me if you want to hear more about it. Spider-Man 2099 was the first hero that first got me into comic books, and I recommend any series you see him in. He has a large presence in recent video games and cartoons, and I hope to only see more of him. Now, for Guess That Mask. Last week, I showed you this image of Blue Beetle, a hero from the DC universe where an alien robotic suit attaches to a teen and he can't take it off. This is another hero that is incredibly powerful, but we never see a lot of them in comics. For this week, we have this picture. If you think you know who it is, tweet me at ZTV Goofing Off with the hashtag Comic Therapy. That's all the time I have for this episode. I'm Clayton Schrock, and I'll see you next time, viewers.
I wish there was some way we can get information about other ZTV shows playing in 45-1.
You mean promos?
Yeah, let's watch some of those.
If you like what you see here on Goofing Off, be sure to like us on Facebook, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and follow us on Twitter.
You're watching ZTV.
You better watch out, Drew. He could be watching you anywhere right now.
Who? Santa?
No, Colin. He's going in as an assassin in Assassin's Creed Odyssey, coming up next on Magic Strawberry.
Hey fellas, it's Colin and you're watching Magic Strawberry. The Assassin's Creed franchise has been going on for quite some time now and has accumulated quite a bit of sales and popularity along the way. But with an annual release schedule came declining sales along with fans losing interest and the formula becoming worn out. Particularly after Syndicate, it was clear that the series either had to find a new identity or cease to exist. Ubisoft decided to take a year off and rethink its approach to the series and make way for the movie, but we're just going to refrain from ever speaking of it ever again. Following that break, Ubisoft released Origins, which introduced a new hitbox approach to the combat, along with light RPG elements. It sparked a renewed interest in the franchise, and after covering several significant historical periods, ranging from the Ptolemaic dynasty in ancient Egypt to Victorian London, Ubisoft decided to delve even deeper into history to take us into the classical period of ancient Greece. This is Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Odyssey takes place near the beginning of the Peloponnesian War, in which Sparta and Athens face off over the dominion of all of Greece. Your character was cast out of Sparta at a young age and raised to be a mercenary. After a series of events occur, you find yourself sailing away from home in search of lost family, all while the battle that will permanently reshape Greece is taking place. In this war, you either fight for Sparta or Athens, but I mostly sided with Sparta since, in reality, they do eventually win this war. And I wanted my experience to be as historically authentic as possible. Odyssey has introduced quite a few firsts for the franchise. For the first time, we can choose between two protagonists, Alexios or Cassandra. And since the dude seemed like a piece of bland toast, I went with Cassandra. But the most notable thing about Odyssey is that it went full RPG. There's branching dialogue options, gear customizing, choosable romances, ability upgrades, and not to mention harrowing choices in the story that can affect the narrative. Though not all of these features are particularly well done. For example, the romances is a half-baked concept at best, in which choosing the dialogue options with the heart next to them is the only thing you need to do to woo them over. And the branching dialogue usually ranges from virtuous good to spiteful renegade, with a little in between. And so throughout the game, I decided my character should be merciful, sentimental, naive, but ruthless when necessary. Nonetheless, the heavy RPG elements feel refreshing, because if the franchise is going to exist for 10 plus years, it might as well do something different. Odyssey also introduces a notoriety system in which various other mercenaries hunt you down when you steal things, kill Spartans and Athenians, along with other crimes. Most aren't very tough in a one-on-one fight, but they do become difficult when you rack up notoriety, and they gang up on you, especially if you're already fighting with other guards. It also includes a quasi-nemesis system reminiscent of the Shadow of Mordor series. The combat itself resembles Origins, especially with the hitbox style making a return again for this installment. You can fight with a variety of weapons such as swords, axes, maces, spears, bow and arrows, daggers, and others. Though I stuck with the spear in most of the game since it is a Spartan weapon of choice. You can also trigger conquest battles between the Spartans and Athenians as soon as you diminish a fortification of a Spartan or Athenian territory. The scales of these battles are simply a delight, and are always fun despite the lack of reward. You also receive an influx of armor throughout the game, and just like in Origins, you can upgrade older armor, particularly when you receive stronger gear that isn't aesthetically pleasing, and you'd much rather wear what you already have. The skill tree is separated into 3 classes, Warrior, Hunter, and Assassin. I found myself mostly sticking to the Warrior class since my method of choice was waltzing through the front door of every fort I see and squaring off with everyone who dare get in my way. Though I did dabble in other skills to supplement my other abilities. My favorite skill by far was a Spartan kick, because kicking people Leonidas style off a mountain never failed to satisfy. Naval combat also returns in a capacity not seen since what I consider my favorite in the franchise, Assassin's Creed 4. It still feels thrilling as ever to dominate the high seas, and even though upgrading the ship is still a bit of a grind, it's still worth it just to easily tear apart any ship you see in the Aegean Sea. The shanties make a return too, and it'll make you smile as widely as it did when you first heard it in Assassin's Creed 4. Odyssey also mostly ignores the present-day storyline prevalent in the franchise thus far, which is a good or bad thing depending on who you are. Personally, I have never cared about anything to do with the present-day plot. The war between Assassins and Templars, the Animus, the Desmond Miles character, the Pieces of Eden, I find it all to be depressingly dull. So it was a relief that Ubisoft kept the present-day aspects to an absolute minimum, and allowed us to roam endlessly in our simulated Mediterranean paradise. With all that said, Odyssey is definitely not lore-friendly, what with the choosable protagonist and the Creed itself not even close to its original conception set up in Origins. But to be quite frank, I don't care, and it's honestly better off for it. By far my favorite part of Assassin's Creed Odyssey was the Greek setting. The world, simply put, is massive. So massive that it feels overwhelming at times, especially when the number of quests you have available suddenly double once you progress further in the story. But this faithful recreation of classical Greece is jaw-dropping. The vibrant colors, lush vegetation, iconic Greek architecture, and the Aegean Sea are sights to behold. I often found myself marveling at the beauty of this world rather than actually playing the game. Assassin's Creed Odyssey is arguably the best in the series, with the sheer magnitude and beauty of its open world, free-flowing combat, and enjoyable RPG elements. Odyssey is a must-own, and although the game is occasionally plagued by glitches, textures that render at the last second, and some new mechanics that aren't woven into the main narrative as much as I would have liked, Assassin's Creed Odyssey is still one of the best standouts of 2018, and I give it an 8.5 out of 10.
The Spartans will have my head for this. I need to get out of here.
Thanks for watching Magic Strawberry. Be sure to follow us on Twitter as ETV Goofing Off, like this video, and subscribe to our channel. Please and thank you. Bye.
Well, that about wraps it up for this episode.
But Becca, I don't want to go back in the dark. There's responsibilities in there.
I'm sorry, Drew. We'll be back again soon. But until then, be sure to like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for extra content. Until then, I'm Becca Tyler.
And I'm Drew Brown. Thanks for taking the time to goof off with us. Hey, Peter, you want to watch some goofing off?
The eye was inert.
The eye was inert!
So, Drew, what are you doing on hunting today?
I forgot what I wrote.
Oh my mainstream Mike! You're moving up in the college world!
Sayonara. The trigger doesn't work. Like, what are we doing?
Well, that's about
wraps up for this take.
This program was produced by ZTV at the University of Akron. To find out how you can make Emmy-winning media, visit the UA School of Communication online. ZTV. Make media. Make a difference.